Hey there. Probably the first time you're hearing my voice on YouTube. I usually do montages and whatnot, but I have been getting into comp and I got into OhTofu's scrims team as well as an early form team isolation. I should be playing in leagues maybe like a little bit. Uh, we're all just kind of in the beginning phase, practicing and whatnot. However, this is my performance on the OhTofu scrim night with my team, Frosty Eyes. Um, it was an interesting match. I've had people tell me that I didn't do too terribly bad at all, considering the fact that I had had no scrims prior to this in a Singularity 4v1. I had only really done 1v1 warm-ups because our team's still trying to work on consistency with practicing and whatnot. But I figured that I would go over my thought process, what I was doing, why I was doing it, what I could have done better, and hopefully anybody that sees this can learn from it and do potentially better than I have, hopefully better than I have on some of their first tries through. So let's start. This is Singularity on Ironworks of Misery. The balancing for OhTofu is kind of awful. It's not really awful, but it's hard for killer. So in this set, made for this is allowed, which for the Singularity being an M1 killer is not too terribly great, especially when put on someone with proficient chase power, I guess. And you'll see that come into play later on. So yeah, let's begin here. I spawn in and I want to start setting up my pods. These are pods that we tested in a custom game that are quite potent. I don't think I made great use of them throughout the game. I think I definitely could have done better with them. I wanted to prioritize on infections, sort of build on those as a foundation, but it turns out that it really wasn't going the way that I thought it would. I kind of missed this pod up here. I want to try and cover as much ground as I can, but I also want to put them in places that one EMP isn't going to get multiple pods. It's tried to lower the potency of the EMPs, given that they're still quite plentiful.
Just remember, Mooney, they like to send their chase person up the middle.
Again, just more setup, trying to remember where I had practiced putting them. I was quite nervous, so I thought that my brain power was going to the gameplay, and you'll see that it does affect my decision making. Now I get a nice early tag here with the pod, but I couldn't quite capitalize on it. You see I whiffed my shot here, and I figure it's just better to not go for the teleport and try to outplay the TNO wall. I do end up playing it quite sloppy, again down to me being nervous, the lack of practice, just coming back to the game after burnout and whatnot. Here is where I think my first mistake was. So this Dwight is the chase guy. I find that out in a little bit because I'm trying to catch up with them, but he's playing the TNL walls great. I'm not playing them very well. I'm losing a lot of distance, and I realized that that's MFT. What I should have done here is when I'd seen that ace, if I go back a little bit. When I seen this ace, I should have faked it out and tried to get a tag on the ace, I could have even just chased the ace because he wasn't built for chase at all. And I think that would have been a much better first chase if I had changed targets instead of being stubborn and trying to outplay this. Notice my camera's a little bit shaky. I was kind of shaky. Yeah, it was a nice window fake. I also should never have committed fully to one side. Entirely my bad there. Again, shouldn't have faked it. He had faked to the window in the front prior. There's no reason he wouldn't fake it again, especially with MFT. I shouldn't have faked the red stain there. It was obvious that he wouldn't have, and now he's on the T-tile. I'm lucky here that he decides to just leave the tile. Not too entirely sure why. I guess they thought maybe with MFT they might have been making it to another filler pallet that was just in front. Luckily, my bloodlust saves me here. As you see, that's nearly a full corrupt usage. I know I did spend a little bit. I spent a little bit setting up. Really, I think I would have wanted to get a down faster, 100%. They, in the end, just start building up enough pressure that I sort of crumble, and there's not really much of a comeback that I could make. At least not one that I could see with the pressure that was on me at the time.
You should thank me for this.
Good damn.
Here, I could have gotten that tag off. I was just so much slower than I should have been. It should have just been a quick pop pod down, switch to pod, get the tag. It could have forced her to use an EMP. That's they've then gonna have to go to a box, print the EMP. That's time spent with a survivor not on gens. So if I could have got this tag, it might have been a little bit more impactful. It's not something that I'm not 100% sure on. I don't really want to act like I am. But yeah. Here, again, the balancing, reassurance, it's hard. I don't get value if I camp this. I have to move from it. I have to commit to another chase. Tags, try to pressure gens. I don't really end up pressuring gens, and I do end up losing a 3-gen because of it. As my chase potential was not very high with really any of these survivors. So I end up losing the ace, but I do get a tag on the Michaela, thankfully. That leaves me room to chase her. I don't think I end up doing that because someone pulls from the hook behind me, and I decide to go in for the tunnel on the Dwight. Not a very good idea given the fact that he has MFT. And yeah, you'll see. Again, just really slow from me. I should have reacted to that pallet drop way sooner. The down would have come in sooner. Here's another mechanical mess up from me. If I had gotten this pod, then I could have gotten the tag onto the Cheryl that was there. Instead, she sees that I tried to hit the wall with the pod, don't get it, and she moves to hide behind the gen. I didn't realize that until I had watched back OhTofu's commentary and stream. I should really be waiting out DS here, given the fact that he is Chase. It just doesn't register in my mind. I left the pod a little bit too earlier. Again, it's another mechanical mistake from me. I'm lucky that he decided to leave that instead of sticking it. That this is a palette that I'm forced to break, even as the Singularity is just a very hard palette to do, especially with the fact that they have people coming in with EMPs to slow me down and whatnot. Here, I mean, I want to say that it was a mind game that I had really just done on purpose. I have gotten hits with Singularity before where you sort of fake using your pod and then you use that brief, I forget what the effect is, the insidious effect. You use that brief window to sort of get a free hit if they commit to one side of the palette too hard, which worked out here, but it's not something I was actively thinking about doing. I see the scratches here. Watching it back in hindsight, I see the Michaela running forward a little bit further up. I just didn't want to gamble on the pickup, getting the pallet dropped on me, wasting more time trying to catch the survivor with MFT. I've already wasted a lot of time trying to get him. I'm at 2 gens. I figured that I play it safe. I look around, see if I could get a tag or down on anybody that it's trying to hover for the safe. I figure here, instead of going back for the pickup, with him being under a pallet and all, I didn't want to risk somebody else being there. Game sense wise, I wasn't all there. I'm still really not. I'm still trying to work on my game sense. Given the fact that she tried to spin me and she lost quite a bit of her momentum, I figure it's just better for me to tag her and try to chase her instead. Yeah, I see her go upstairs, and I figure it's not worth chasing up there, especially if she's smart and she knows that there's a camera on the inside. So I do go back. Obviously, I can't get the tunnel out because I'm not too entirely sure where Dwight has gone. That's just a me problem. I end up finding Skin, Cheryl. I go for the tag on them. This one was a lot easier. I can just take that. I can just take their pathing, and I can pull myself in closer to the window. So I'm always gonna make that window first. I get the down. I figure here I want to harass people. Get them to use EMPs. Get them afraid of if I might teleport to the gen or not. I try to make a teleport here to try and apply more pressure. In hindsight, not a very good idea. I've got my down here. I need to pick them up, put them on a scourge hook. try to get stages, because that's what I'm playing for at this point. I'm trying to play for stages. And this teleport was never going to go through. Again, it's just a mechanical error from me. Here, I was freezing up. I didn't know what I wanted to do, where I feel I should go. I could feel the pressure building up, the nervousness of having nearly 2,000 people watching me play. It was hard on my mentor. I think I should have just full committed to the front, tried to get on the Michaela, which I end up doing now. But it could have been done much sooner, much faster, and I could have got it down quicker, which means pop, Scourge Hook, and more pressure, all in all. I think one of my biggest mistakes here is my lack of pop goes to Weasel usage. If I had to go back and change anything, I'd probably change pop for something like Deadlock or maybe even DMS, just to harass people with the camera. This here, I was quite proud of getting this usage out of the cameras. It was a quick tag into a quick teleport. This came into a quick down, and I feel like it did change the trajectory of the game a little bit. I feel like I managed to gain some more momentum, and I could get more stages out of this.
Perfect destruction.
This was just another moment of me being. I just didn't want to camp purely from the fact that if I did camp, I'd be punished with reassurance. There's no way I was securing the second stage through reassurance. It would have happened. So I decided to come over here and pressure this gen that any survivors would be on and try to get more stages, because again, that's what I'm playing for. I do end up finding the Dwight. This would be my second stage on the Dwight. Again, it was a chase that I was very hesitant to take because MFT makes this million times harder. They were a very good player. On top of the MFT, just adding the speed and my reaction time not being amazing, it really was punishing. But luckily, I get this easy tag on him here. That pod there, I'd say on Ironworks, is a very necessary one. It covers the stairs, it covers the back of the Ironworks. All in all, I think it's just a very perfect pod, and shout out to my teammate Void for helping me figure all this out, and being the one that was sitting in customs, figuring this stuff out, playing live games, figuring it out, and then teaching it to me. I don't think they were very aware of this camera. Either that, or they thought that MFT might take them to the window. Here, I swing at the dead hard. Stupid mistake, and I repeat that mistake at least another time. this was just a byproduct of me being nervous, not thinking, allowing pressure to get to me. Do the little camera wiggle then, out of frustration. My tracking here not being amazing, giving him a tile with a pallet on it that thankfully I can manage to outplay fairly quickly, but it should never have made it to that tile in the first place. I get an overclock here and I decide to take the window in hopes that they might not run straight for the pallet and maybe they try to greed for a loop around the long wall. In hindsight, not a very good decision. They're on 1 gen, they can really just drop as many pallets as they want. They're gonna run to the pallet. It thankfully didn't cost me too much time, and here it was just a very quick, flick of my camera to make them think that I'm committing to one side and then taking them down on the other. I hit Michaela with another pod here just to try and spread them, make them use more EMPs, make them waste more time.
Rotted, little worm.
This is my first pop usage out of the entire game, which isn't amazing. Again, I don't think it's something that I could really make use of. I think pop pain res is good for high mobility killers. I think for a killer like Singularity, it might have just been better to go for a pain res or a deadlock, with that being allowed, purely just for me to be able to control the map. Even a DMS, just so I can control the map without having to move too far from the hook. Not that that made much of a difference with the fact that reassurance exists and is allowed. I put a pod here just to try and see if they're waiting on the other side of the log pile. They're definitely long gone by now. It's yeah.
You're doing good. Keep it up.
There's me sort of cursing myself, wishing that I had put one on the other side of the tower as well. It just would have been nice to be able to harass that generator, because I know for a fact they're working on it. Here, a critical is again gonna make it in for the reassurance save. It's hard because I can't physically stop them from doing that. I can hit them, they're gonna get the reassurance, and that's what happens. And I thankfully end up being able to get it down, but I stupidly don't go back to the hook after the last gen pops, so I don't manage to secure Insane Zombie. I don't manage to secure Dwight with my no-ed. I do manage to actually kill him, but I have to tunnel him out for it. And all in all, it's not very optimal. I feel if I'd got the down on critical, gone back to the hook to stop the unhook, it would have been a much cleaner game. Here I was just checking to see if critical might have been waiting. It's always best to sort of try and pinch them between you and the pod, or between two pods. For some reason he was just waiting right here. I don't think he knew I was there because I was hiding myself with the status effects. They couldn't hear my terror radius, my red stain. So, and I was directly underneath them. I get this slipstream off, which is really good. I don't have to waste time going through the window. I can just come through, close the distance, and I do manage to secure him down like that. I managed to track him through the blind. I should have really just looked up, stopped the blind. Luckily, I don't fall off or do anything silly. Thankfully, in front of 2,000 people would have been quite embarrassing, but you know. This is annoying because I get the down just as the last gen pops, and I don't like that I had to reveal my NOED on an injured person. Not that I don't believe it would have mattered all that much. I feel like they would have expected NOED, given that I'm an M1 killer and I need to get as much value as I can, especially in the end game. I Sluggy is trying to make a comeback. It doesn't register in my brain that Cheryl is going to be going over to get the unhook while Michaela works on the gate to my left. I should have gone straight back to the hook. A big mistake on my part. I see the scratch marks and realize what they're going to do, but I don't have the speed to make it there in time. Right now it's just a game of slugging, trying to create as much value with insane Dwight having to be tunneled out. It's hard. I wanted to get a 4-person slug. It's not really gonna happen. The gates aren't open as fast, or they're not opening the gates because Cricket has to rotate round to get the pickup. Cheryl was the daily build, so Cheryl did have Unbreakable, and I think we do see that being used. More Critical had crawled his way around towards the gate. Yeah, I don't swing because I don't want to hit his borrow time. I wasn't really counting it, so I have a vague timer. But again, it's all really just misplaced for me. Not thinking properly and whatnot. Here I try to do the same thing again, but smart. He drops the pallet. It doesn't really matter though because he leaves it, and that lets me get it down. I swing at the dead hard again. Stupid. I saw it before. I know it's there. It just doesn't register in my brain, and I swing at it because I'm barely thinking. If we manage to intercept, again, purely because of the fact that I wasn't thinking, and keeping track of hooks and whatnot, I let Critical slip out of my hands. I let Ace slip out of my hands. He was the fresh hook. He was worth the most. Misplayed by me. This here is probably the most embarrassing thing for me. I am for some reason stressing about Dwight trying to crawl to the gate. He would never, purely because he knows he couldn't get past me. He's instead at hatch, and my teammate does pipe in to tell me. But it's just it's too late, and it's nobody's fault but mine. I just, again, not thinking, letting pressure get to me, beating myself up, letting negative thoughts spiral me, and I end up making silly mistakes.
Play for hatch because there's only one execute.
So yeah, and that ends me with a 1k6, which people are telling me is not too terribly bad. For saying that I had no scrim practice or anything, and I mean I've been playing mainly pubs. But yeah, all in all, I think personally, I don't think I did too bad a job either. I think it's things that I have to work on and practice, and I definitely need to be more consistent with scrim practices, even just 1v1s to up my mechanical skill with the killers that I'm playing. But yeah, that's my performance. Embarrassing as it was, I did beat myself up about it, but I don't think I should have nearly as hard because not a bad job. They do end up beating us. They get a 4K and 0 gens, so yeah, they just get 3. Yeah, they get a 4K. I don't want to do math, it's too early in the morning. But yeah, first time actually doing like a commentary thing. I don't think I'm a great talker, but I'll leave that up to you guys. Do you want me to do that with the next Tofu scrim that I play? It'll be probably Pyramid Head, hopefully, unless he gets banned. I'm really hoping he doesn't. And yeah, see you later.